All right, everybody, hello and welcome. You are here for three secrets to getting unstuck in your 2025 job search. My name is Albert. I'm the founder of Albert's List, and I'm here with my co-host, Lisa Huang. So, before we get started, I want to let you know that I want you to get in the mindset of today's webinar. We're here talking about job search, job hunt. It's a pretty important topic for me. It's a pretty important topic, I know, for many of you as you go through this job search. So I want you to do what you can to stay focused, whether it's exiting out of your social media apps, closing the door to your room, plugging in your headphones, and just getting into a mindset of being ready to learn. That way you get the most out of our time together today. And so you may be wondering as we begin this webinar whether you are in the right place or not. You are in the right place if you are struggling to find your next job. If you're feeling stuck in your career and you're not sure what to do next, whether you're looking for a promotion or whether you're looking to get more money, you aren't sure what to do next in the job market. It's been an interesting market over the last 3 years. It's been 3 years since we started raising interest rates, and it feels like this journey is never ending. And or if you're someone who is looking for a solution to your struggles. If any of these things describe you, I want you to type yes in the webinar chat. And if it's something that doesn't describe you, I want you to stay, because I think there is something that I think you will learn along the way as you experience this webinar. So, we're going to tell you today about what the three secrets to getting hired are in this tough economy. And if you're interested beyond that, I'm going to show you how you can get even more along the way with Albert's List, as we have programs that you may be interested in. And I think you're going to be interested in what we have to share with you as well. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about me. My name is Albert, as I mentioned. I'm the founder of Albert's List. We've been going since March 5th, 2013. I'm a product marketer by day. I work in the AI and analytics space, and many people might call me the jobs whisperer because I'm there for them in their career. I'm sometimes the first person that people reach out to when they are laid off and when they're looking for their next opportunity. And it's a great place. It's a privileged place to be because I think to be seen as someone that somebody can trust when it comes to their career is an incredibly humbling place to be. When I'm not doing my career, when I'm not doing product marketing or Albert's List, I'm a vintage paper collector. So I enjoy collecting old newspapers, and I enjoy biking on my Peloton. So you'll sometimes find me at work biking on my Peloton because I work remotely, and that's one way that I use to keep myself sane with everything. And maybe the most important qualifier that I have for Day is that, like you, whether you're in Silicon Valley or whether Silicon Valley is merely a mindset for you, I've been through the Silicon Valley career grinder. And the trademark is a little bit tongue in cheek, but you'll know what I'm talking about because everybody around here, especially if you work in tech, has been laid off at some point. You've been fired. And that describes me because I've been one of those types of people myself. When I first graduated from school many years ago, nobody had taught me about the job search, much less how to manage a career. I had one of those entitled young millennial personalities. I was looking out for money and for myself, and it reflected in me getting cut from the first few jobs that I was in. And I felt powerless. I felt clueless. I felt like I was losing at the game of life. I knew that there were other people who had a cheat code or some kind of special ability that I lacked. And if I'm wondering if any of you feel that way, if you look at your friends, your peers, other people in your world, and you see that they are going through their job and their career and they're getting promoted and they're making more money, and it feels like maybe you're stuck in that same place. And it definitely was that for me too, because I came from a family that had a completely different career. My parents were both software engineers. My sister now is a mechanical engineer. And I decided that I wanted to go into social media marketing, which when you look at it is at a completely different direction. But the uncertainty, the layoffs, they were all taking their toll. My self-worth took a hit. I questioned my value. And along the way, bills also kept coming in. I had to find a way to make everything work. And, Silicon Valley is an expensive place to work. And maybe it is the same place for you, especially if you are in a city. If any of you can relate to that, send a heart reaction or type yes in the chat so I can know that maybe there are some of you out there who maybe relate to my story as well. But along the way, I did get unstuck too. I built Albert's List and found myself helping others, and I got out of contract and layoff hell and ended up working a fairly stable job for a couple of years in Silicon Valley, in Southern California, which it's close to Silicon Valley, but not entirely quite. Still very much a tech scene down there. And because my job was remote, I was able to come back to the Bay Area and I was able to give a lot of different talks at the local library. And that made taking long drives up the California coast. And I was thinking about topics like interviewing or networking, all while focusing on the road and looking at the beautiful views along the way. And combined with my what I experienced in my Facebook group, combined with what my conversations with job seekers, I thought about a lot of things. And one of them was, why is it that some people come into the community and are able to find jobs quickly and then go do something else? And then how come are there people who come in and about a year later, they're still in my community? And over time, that's what led to the foundation of Albert's List, which we founded March of 2013, and just celebrated going over 50,000 members. This is a picture from our 50,000 member party, which we held just last September. And so we're now in the business of helping job seekers learn AI, side hustles, and job search skills. And each of these, we believe, play a critical part in your career today because we know that makes you indispensable. And so we're doing that. We create those opportunities. We create those moments where you can connect with others. And so if you haven't had a chance to connect with other people in the webinar, I encourage you to do so. Drop your LinkedIn, connect with somebody, and tell them that you met them on this webinar so you can get the conversation going and you can meet other people. And if you're wondering a little bit about what is this community anyway? I came from Meetup, I came from Eventbrite, or maybe I just joined the group and this Albert's List thing still isn't clear to me. I want to say that there are more than 50,000 people who are just like you on our community, in our email list, and in these webinars every single week. We have professionals that hail around all around the world. And, just as we saw in this community as well, in this chat, we saw people from Oakland, from Vancouver. In the past, we've seen people from New York, Boston, London. And they do different jobs, everything from software engineering to product management, marketing, data scientists. Some of you are administrative assistants who are assisting and helping high-powered executives, manufacturing, and more. And folks who are in this community hail from companies that you've heard of as well, right? You look at some of these companies like Oracle, Google, PayPal, Clorox, Lyft, Coffee Meets Bagel, Workday. And it's likely that I or someone in this community knows somebody who works at these companies. And so if you're looking for a connection, if you're looking to be a part of a community that touched some of the biggest and most impactful communities in the world, then we're in there. And if you want to get on this email list, because you have signed up for today's webinar, you're going to get on the email list and hopefully get some emails in the future. But enough about Albert's List. You're here because you want a job, and you're here because you've been looking outside your window the last couple of months. And like me, you're asking the question, what the heck is up with this market anyway? We've seen these layoffs, we've seen AI take over, and it looks bad out there, and maybe you're one of those people that feels like the end of capitalism is near, and that we're all just everything is falling apart. And the good news is, strangely and oddly enough, it's that it has been worse. You might have been around for the 2008 recession. You might have been around for the dot-com bust. And if you have money put aside, then you should be okay. You should have the right strategy, the system, and the tactics for your next job, something that Albert's List can provide. And if you don't have much money put aside, then you might be feeling fear and uncertainty. I've definitely been there myself. And I know that navigating a job market, especially in an employer's market, is rough because you have on one side hearing that your friends are continuing to go out, spend money because they have the money to do so and they're enjoying their weekends. And then there's the roller coaster of the economic news every day, right? We're in the middle of a tariff pause here in the United States, all while the stock market goes up and down depending on these. We've got a white collar recession where, just from what we saw in the last jobs report here in the US, that retail and food and these places continue to add jobs and healthcare continue to add jobs, but we're still in a white collar recession. And then there's when you do get an interview and these employers want you to go through 15 interviews before they ghost you and they want you to do homework and they want you to spend 8 hours on this homework. And so if you've ever had that, put I hate that in the webinar chat so that I know that, this is something that maybe a lot of you are feeling absolutely terrible about. And the thing is that most of us we want a regular paycheck, money coming in regularly. And what we need is a job. And the problem is that something that you are doing is not working. It could be your resume, it could be your skills, your network, it could be your attitude, it could be the vision that you have when you get that interview, or it could be a little bit of everything. Job searches, especially in this market, are really involved and they require great attention to detail and precision. And the worst thing about it is that if you make one tiny mistake, an employer will punish you by sending you that dreaded rejection letter. And there's also a lot of time investment along the way, right? You're going out, you're networking, you're writing LinkedIn messages, you're spending time on this webinar. And you have to sometimes start these activities weeks and months before something actually bears fruit. And I get it. My biggest fear, maybe your biggest fear, is that we're not able to provide for our family, even if we only have ourselves to take care of at that moment. And the other thing is with America, the demographic shifts, and really maybe even around the world, given inflation and COVID over the last couple of years, is that many people are only a paycheck away from losing everything. And the thing that we have to do is we have to take enough action, the right actions, to be the best fit for that job. And to get there, you need to have the right system. You need to have accountability. You need to have the keys that will help you get there. It's critically important that we have to keep our attitude positive, that we have to stay connected with other people and use all the resources and throw the kitchen sink that I like to call to be able to succeed. And one of the things that we have to do is we have to stay connected because we could only be one change away from something changing in your job search, right? Somebody could be on this webinar chat tonight who is a recruiter. And if you're a recruiter, please let us know. Or somebody who could be a hiring manager. And if you're hiring for a job, please let us know too. Or if you're connected to a job, let us know too, because that could be that one change that separates you from go at being unemployed this week to being in a hot interview next week with a growing company that sees your value. So if you're somebody who's connected to any of these things, please let all of us know because there's, almost 50 of us in here and I'm sure that all of us could use that big break if we could. I know personally, so if you find me on LinkedIn later, we're hiring for a product marketing job at my company. So if you work in marketing, and you have really great content and strategic chops, please reach out because we're hiring for a role in that. So, what, and the whole point of that is we want to avoid isolation. We know that isolation is deadly, right? Based on what happened to all of us during COVID when we were staying home. And staying connected and staying with a community is critically important. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And so Albert's List is a community, not just for your next job, but we're also for connections and a sense of belonging. And this all by itself could not just save your career, but it could also save your life. Another thing you want to do is network. So, as we stated earlier, using your existing relationships and your warm connections to meet other people, going to networking events that include webinars like this can help you stay focused and make an impact for your job search. And now that you are within the Alberts List community, it also means that you're connected to other warm leads. And so, I see that a couple of people here are sharing LinkedIn's. On a webinar like this is where the webinar chat, where I hope, as long as you're not driving, as long as you're not operating heavy machinery, that you should be in the webinar chat talking about your LinkedIn, talking about your experience and sharing what we can do for you today. And not only is being able to showcase who you are, it's also standing out in a crowded market. With more job seekers looking, it's important for you to not only understand the nuts and bolts of your job search, but also to know what your special sauce is. You have to be able to stand out, know your value proposition, and have that level of meaning. And again, yet with all of that, you're one moment from change. And so, with that, we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to really master and understand the three secrets to getting unstuck in your job search. So, what does that even look like? The secret number one is called the Magnificent Seven. And I want to maybe go into something that could be traumatic for some of you. It's got something I've gone through a lot. How many of you have walked out of your last employer after a firing or layoff just absolutely beside yourself? Maybe you're crying, maybe you think the world is falling apart. Or, for me, maybe it's I think I'm unhireable because I've been laid off for the fifth time in the last 6 years. And I get it, right? You feel like you've been hurt. And as much as we're told that you shouldn't take it personally, we do because we tie our identity to the work that we do. Um, and we take things personally because we feel like somebody has waged revenge against us. If that's something that you've gone through, type me in the chat. I want to see how many people feel just like me when you've been laid off or let go, right? You feel like somebody's waging revenge against you. You feel like you need to like punch something or that you want to become the superhero of your life so you can change that aspect of your life. And so, one thing I've learned about this over the last 7 years is that this blow can be softened if you know all the things that need to happen so that you can get back on your feet faster. The biggest antidote to having your life disrupted is to know exactly how to respond. And that's what I call the Magnificent Seven. And the Magnificent Seven is basically this. Some of these things all are already doing. You're updating your resume, you're updating your LinkedIn, you're identifying the jobs you want to apply for, you're reaching out to your network, you're posting introduction on Albert's list, you're restarting LinkedIn Premium, and then you're identifying networking events to attend. And as Art says, right, I feel more sorry for the org. And you know what? I do too, because usually when they lose somebody as valuable as yourself, it is more of their loss than it is for you losing them. And the fact of the matter is that if you know exactly what to do next, you can feel a lot less helpless because you feel emotionally detached from the moment. And so, what does executing upon the Magnificent Seven look like? I'm going to share a few of these in a moment here so that it can all make sense to us. And so what we're going to start with is we're going to start with my resume. And if you want to take a screenshot of this or if you want a copy of this resume, I am happy to offer it to you because it's gotten me 35 offers over the last 5 job searches that I've had back into 2017. It's one that, has gotten me a lot of attention, and I want to actually walk through it as part of the Magnificent Seven so that you can understand what's important about it too. So the first piece that you need to do to write a resume that gets noticed is that you need to indicate clearly what your intended job title is. I cannot stress enough that I see so many resumes that don't have a job title on at the very top, and people who don't have that job title immediately go into the no pile for a lot of companies because it is unclear what exactly this person does. And the more clearly you indicate what it is that you do, the better of a decision somebody can make, especially if you're somebody who's qualified. There are hundreds to thousands of applicants at any given company, with many people who are unqualified. And so it is important that you know exactly what it is that you're doing. The second piece is that you need to summarize your capabilities or include highlights. Resumes are read for 7 seconds at most these days, and they normally look at the top left-hand corner. And so if you don't have bullets, if you don't have a summary that includes numbers, then it's incredibly difficult for you to get noticed because people aren't going to take the time to look through the rest of the body of your resume. But if you want to get to this point in the first place, then it's really going to help you to get that attention by having the highlights section. The third piece about your resume is to add your skills, separated by commas to showcase your capabilities. And what's so important about this is that it helps you pass the applicant tracking system. A lot of companies in their applicant tracking system are going to ask for skills within their requirements section. And what it does is that it allows you to show what you're capable of while also passing their job search system. By the way, if you're looking for this resume, send it to the email that I've just attached here, and I'll go ahead and get it to you. The next piece is your professional experience. So, after you've told people what you do, given a summary of your background, provided your technical skills, it's time to hop into the meat of your resume. And here it is more important than ever to be results focused. You either create revenue, save money, or drive innovation within your organization. And I strongly believe that because companies don't exist for much else. If maybe you disagree, feel free to let me know in the webinar chat. But at the end of the day, this is what you're doing. And so you must demonstrate clearly that you are somebody who can do one of these three things. And so if you're able to show numbers, you should show numbers because that's what's going to set you apart among all the candidates who are out there. Next, we're going to go to our final page here. And what you can do is you can also put your other experience at the bottom. And this is on my resume where I put Albert's list, especially if it's not related to the job at hand. And what I do here on my resume is I showcase what I've done for my job, how much I've experienced, what my experience is with this, and why it also assists me with complementing what I do by day. Additionally, what you need to do, especially if you're no longer a new graduate, is to place your education at the bottom, unless you graduated recently. If you're somebody who's been out of school for more than 10 years, eliminate that graduation date so that you can avoid ageism and bias. It's an unfortunate part of the job search, but you must do what you can in order to reduce the bias that might be out there. And then finally, add your certifications below. If you don't have any certifications, this is the perfect time to add. If you already have certifications, ensure that they're at the bottom here so they can show that you've continued to learn even well after graduation and that you're keeping current. So that's the resume. And the next thing that I want to show you is my LinkedIn profile. And so LinkedIn is another piece that is also important to your job search. When it comes to your LinkedIn, it's always important to create personal branding differentiators. I can tell you that come across numerous LinkedIn profiles every single week that have no cover photo, that have no profile picture. And so when it comes to hiring, you want people to see your LinkedIn and know that you're getting work, that you're active on the platform so that you can get work. And the more active you are on the platform, the better outcome that you can have when it comes to you being noticed. Good question there. So Art was also asking for the again question, how do we show years of experience without it looking like we are ancient? You show your more recent experience, the experience that makes you look the most relevant. And if you've been at somewhere for like 20 years, showcase the previous like decade and the most important things that you've done during that decade. So also on your LinkedIn, I also want you to, when you're developing your LinkedIn profile, to develop a unique value proposition. A lot of us, when we're on LinkedIn here, we have just our job title, or maybe we don't have anything in this area. And this is a place where you have the opportunity to leave. You have the opportunity to rather to put something that specifically differentiates you. And so what you can do here is you can put something that talks about what you do, that talks about the work that you do and the value or the industry that you work in, and what people can expect from you. Then the next thing I want to mention that you should put on your LinkedIn is to be open to opportunities and put it all out there. Right. So for many of you, if you're on the job hunt, it is important that you use the open to work banner or open to work banner, or that you're open to hire inside of LinkedIn if it's in there privately. As we like to say, or as I like to say, that, closed mouths don't get fed. And so the more open you are with your job search, the more that you're out there passively telling people that you're looking for those opportunities, the better it will be for you. Then the final thing I want to talk about is how you can get noticed on Albert's list. And so this is a unique one. Elisa, if you're in the chat right now, we got a few questions, but also drop the link for Albert's list in the webinar chat. Albert's List is a community of 50,600 people, and we welcome people to put their introductions into the Facebook group so that people can know that they're looking for work. For me, when I introduce myself on Albert's List, I'm very clear with my introduction, right? So I put my introduction down, I say what I'm looking for, product marketing with a dash of content. So when I'm looking for a job, I usually put that I'm looking for a content-focused product marketing role. What I do is I also share that I know exactly or I'm close to what it is that I want. And so what that looks like is talking about what it is that I want and then explaining what I want, whether in this case, which is launching product solutions, doing go-to-market plans and enabling sales, but also doing a lot of writing so that sales knows exactly where to go. And then the final thing that I do, and I think this might be the most important part of every single job search, is to offer something to other people. One of the biggest things that you can do that always comes back many, many fold when you network, when you're introducing yourself, is that you also offer something to other people so that not only are you asking, but you are also giving. And so this post ended up with 503 reactions and 153 comments. I got my job that I'm currently working now off of Albert's List, and I believe that you can too. And so when I wrap it all up, what I see with this in terms of my own perspective is what I call the hiring hierarchy. The hiring hierarchy is what I've described as a framework that allows that looks at the job search and what an individual needs in order to be successful in that job search. I've always seen hunger, attitude, hustle, self-awareness, resilience, and commitment as key to the job search because if you're not somebody who can take the hits, if you're not somebody who can be consistent every single day with your job search, then a job search is extremely difficult to be successful in. The next level I look at are the basics of every single job search. If you're looking for an entry-level job, a mid-level job, or really any job in mind, then having a good resume and cover letter, the ability to network well, an understanding of what job search skills are in general, your ability to interview are all critical to landing that role. If you're somebody who's a little bit senior, then having a sense of vision, knowing how to roll with the punches and having dynamics in the job, in the company, being able to connect what it is that you're doing this work for, being a strategic thinker, and having a little bit of leadership is also very helpful to being somebody that'll be considered for a role. Of course, at the end of the day, you may feel like you are that you need all of these things, but the truth of the matter is that you don't. If you have a little bit of everything in the top and everything in the bottom, then you're setting yourself up to stand out within your job hunt. And so, with someone, I want you to meet Lauren. She's an Albertslist member who found herself slowly working through her job applications. And like many of you, she spent a lot of time thinking about the job search rather than executing. There's a lot going on, right? And so, this job search cost her many opportunities, including her dream job. She was primarily concerned with perfecting the job search. And, I know that there's a lot going on, but one thing that separates good job seekers from not as great job seekers is sometimes the ability to just put something out there. And I want to highlight why taking time is bad, right? So, for example, if you had been laid off when I was laid off in 2022 and you had gotten into your job search immediately, you likely would have landed another job pretty soon. But if you had waited 6 months into 2023, it might have been a lot more difficult. And while it's important to take that rest, timing is also of the essence. And so I want to ask, what problems do you think that taking too much time in your job search creates? Let me know in the chat. And so while you type that in the chat, after Lauren was able to join our system and learn about the Magnificent Seven, she understood the need to introduce speed into her job search, from using her network to figuring out quickly what she needed to be successful. And she was able to find a job within the weeks of completing our program and understanding our system. And she understood the process throughout the entire way. So that's secret number one. Secret number two is to identify the jobs that you want to apply for. And you might be thinking, well, of course, Albert, duh. I'm a professional and I know exactly what I want to work in. And so I would say yes, that's partially true. And the other thing is that in a market like this, it is incredibly important to know that in looking for a job, you need to have an abundance mindset. Applying for jobs is both a sprint and a marathon because you have to perfect your craft of looking for that job every single day. And when you know your destination or destinations, it's something that allows you to really stay focused, stay abundant, and stay motivated. And one of the things I call is the A through L or the A through G exercise. And so I want you to take 30 seconds right now, whether it's on your notepad app, on your phone, or whether it's a piece of paper, or if you're driving and listening, or if you're listening to this later, I want you to think about all the jobs that you qualify for today. For me, it's product marketing, content marketing, digital marketing, social media, HR, recruiting, and then working for myself. And that's 7 jobs right there. And so, as you work through this process as well, I want you to think about all the various jobs that are related to you and tangentially related that you could possibly qualify for. And as you finish your list, I want you to type in the webinar chat how writing down all these jobs makes you feel. Fontella says better. I'm glad. Anybody else? Overwhelmed. Okay. Valuable candidate. I like that. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I would love to see if you can reframe that. I understand that this could be a very overwhelming experience, right? Because you have all these different jobs. But what I want you to think about the otherwise is that you have a lot of abundance in your life. Like Mohua says, you have more options than you think, and you feel qualified. You don't necessarily need to put title in this list, whether it's senior, junior, director. Um, but yeah, I mean, what allows you to do is even though you can't maybe feel at one job that you titled a search for, it expands your universe. It gives you that opportunity to realize that you have way more opportunities that you qualify for, and that if you've been applying for one job this entire time, that we can switch that mindset to a mindset of abundance where you can target and strategize multiple jobs at once. Carrie writes, what I know I am qualified for and what others perceive me as qualified for seems to be the gap. Okay, so that's a value proposition question, right? Where you are probably qualified for a lot more roles than you think you are. And it is important for you to articulate within your value proposition and within your interviews why you're able to go for those jobs that other people think that you may not be able to do. And so we're gonna go into that a little bit later as well. And so I want to move on to the next slide, and I want you to meet Juan, who's another one of our Alberts List members. When he came to us several years ago, he expressed a lack of discipline in his search and a lack of direction. On some days, he would submit many applications, and on other days, he wouldn't do anything at all, which would allow the momentum that he had gathered in his search to wither away. I know some of you might feel this way. I know I felt this way before I implemented my A through G system, and it can be demoralizing if you don't. And so he realized that he needed a change in mindset. And we gave him this mindset with this simple exercise. He felt that it was a lot more abundant, and that he felt that along with our LinkedIn chat, along with our ongoing webinars and our community, that he had that bigger opportunity to get to where he wanted to be. And so this fueled his ambitions, and he was able to land in his new career after a few weeks of working together. And so, wherever you may be, I want you to focus on that abundance in the search and the exercise. If you if you take nothing else out of this webinar today, do that exercise daily. Expand what it is that you think you can do, and really get to that experience that you deserve. Because at the very end of the day, I want you to feel like you have everything that is available to you that you can take advantage of. So now we're going to go into secret number three. And secret number three is connecting past, present, and future. And so this is one about job interviewing. And I want to ask everyone in the chat, do you feel like you are good at job interviewing? You can answer yes, no, maybe. Love to just get an overall feel of it from everybody. And the truth of it is, I think a lot of people struggle at job interviewing because maybe they think that they're there for themselves, or and that somebody may not notice, or they're not sure how to navigate the interview game. And in reality, right, companies, and we do have some HR folks like Fontella here, companies interview candidates because they're hoping that your past success is an indication of what's going on into the future. And while your stockbroker is never going to promise you that their ability to invest in the past and win is an indicator of future success, your future employer is almost banking on this possibility. And so, how do you interview well? You connect your past, present, and future by understanding and diving deeply into the questions you'll be asked from the job description as it aligns to your resume and their needs. And so, we're going to do an exercise right now. If you have ChatGPT, I want you to go to the ChatGPT website, and I want you to do something for me. I want you to take your resume, or I want to take you to take your LinkedIn and a job description, and I want you to act as if it were a career consultant and have it give you a four-column table in response. And I'm going to actually share this in the next slide. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to copy this prompt. And I want you to go ahead and create a four-column matrix through ChatGPT that will help you prepare with your resume, your LinkedIn, and a job description. And so the LinkedIn you're going to use is yours. The job description is going to be one that you pull off the internet. And what you're going to do is you're going to type in this prompt after you paste both your LinkedIn or attach your LinkedIn and your resume into ChatGPT. And what you're going to get is you're going to get a response like this one. I did this for an interview job for somebody that I was working with several months ago. And what ChatGPT should output for you is a four-column table that showcases question type, the question that was asked, the story from your resume or your LinkedIn profile, and then the answer that you can practice with someone else. And so, why do I ask you to do this exercise? I ask you to do this exercise, one, because interviewing is probably going to be the most important part of every single job job search that you do. But the second piece is I remember when preparing for interviews took a really, really, really long time. Um, I remember it took me at least 2 to 3 weeks to prepare for an interview because I had to think through the questions that might be asked, my experience. I had to think about the job description and so much more. And now with ChatGPT, you can complete this exercise in 90 in 95% faster. And so, has anyone given this a shot yet? I'd love to see in the webinar chat what any initial reactions might be. In essence, what you should get is ChatGPT should give you a interview answer bank that you can take into your upcoming interviews, and that as you go into more interviews, perfect because you're going to be getting additional questions that you never thought of before. And so the STAR acronym stands for situation, task, action, and result. So you're going to get a set of different questions that ChatGPT is going to ask for, as we said, right? So STAR questions are situational questions. Hypothetical questions are what you get asked when you have the potentiality of things that could happen. Situational, and then you have factual questions that could be like, how much would you like to get paid? Can you work remotely? Can you work in person? Things of that sort. Do I have a similar example to prompt getting an interview? Well, I would say in prompting to get an interview would be to use ChatGPT to write networking messages that can help people respond to you better. And so that's something that we're going to talk about here super, super shortly. And so the next person I want to talk about is Catherine. Catherine is also another member who used our system with the Magnificent Seven, as well as being able to connect past, present to future. She's an ambitious professional who has worked several careers and was figuring out what her next step should be. And though she knew she could do whatever was placed before her, she wasn't able to tell her story clearly. And with our help here at Albert's List, she learned her value proposition and connected her past to present and into her future. And she discovered that she wanted to continue going down the route of being a digital marketing manager. And so, combining that with her understanding of her strengths and her past experience, she used the skills that we learned with this exercise and that quickly translated into a job offer because she was able to master her interviews. So with all that said, knowing what we've done with regards to the Magnificent Seven, understanding the jobs that you want, as well as connecting your past, present, and future, are you interested in learning more about the system that we have to offer to increase your odds of getting the job or career that you want? Type yes in the chat if so. Awesome. Love to hear it. So, as many of you know, the system that we used was called that was an 8 week course. And we know that in this market, a job hunt is more difficult than ever. As an organization that's worked in the job search space for a while, we've done a little bit to try and tweak that. And so we know that speed is important to you. We know that technology is important to you. And we want to get you back out there so that you can interview and accelerate the job search process. And so today we're introducing 6 weeks to success, the summer 2025 job search bootcamp. It starts on June 16th, a week from today, and we're here to help you through your job search. And so we're going to go through week by week what it is that you'll be learning. Um, And so let me know if you're excited to learn more about that because we have some really fantastic slides that are coming up. So, week one, we're going to talk about the hiring process. The modern hiring process has changed a lot. AI has become a critical part of everything that we do. And we're going to talk about what it takes to go from being reached out to getting the work that you want. We're going to talk about the riches and the niches and the importance of being able to niche down into a specific area, right? Everybody has been maybe saying that they want to work for a FANG company or that they want to go work for an AI company. But what if something that you want to work in is in someplace unexpected, whether it's education, a nonprofit, or something similar? We're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to talk about why expecting the unexpected can land you sometimes in the best careers that you never thought of. I never thought I'd be in the analytics and AI space, but here I am. I'm the one who leads this one. I kick off our boot camp just like I kick off this webinar, and I'm going to be the one that's here to help you out. In week two, we're going to talk about resumes and cover letters. Um, Resumes, we're going to talk about a resume that gets you noticed. We're going to tell a story that speaks to your strengths, and we're going to create a cover letter that highlights your background. And with this, we have our instructor, Jonayat Iqbal. Jonayat is a LinkedIn resume and personal branding expert with over 40,000 connections on LinkedIn. He's one of those personable people that I know, and we have a lot of fun with him. He's been a career coach to C-suite executives, high school kids, techies, and clowns, and he's written resumes for people along all of these entire lines. And he can help you as well. He's got templates that can help you and get you the most out of everything. Week three, we're going to talk about LinkedIn and networking. We're going to talk about messages that work. We're going to talk about how you can network in circles of influence. And we're going to help you meet the people who want to meet you. And your instructor, she's in the chat. Her name is Elisa, and she's a LinkedIn networking and sales expert who works for the world's largest search engine, closing business to business software as a service deals. She connects hundreds of people weekly with job searches and career posts. And Elisa, I'm not sure if you're there, but if you'd like to come off mute, I'd love for you to say hi to everybody.
It's so nice to see everyone on the webinar tonight and just plus one to what everyone's shared. It's just a hugely competitive market right now. It has been for the last several years. And for some, it's almost job search fatigue at this point. So
Yeah,
I just appreciate you all for taking this time to invest in yourself, bet on yourself. And I mean, I know Albert spewed tons of nuggets of value here. Yeah, I just think, take the time to connect with everyone as well in this group because you never know when your next opportunity is going to come from. So I'll try to start another rally of LinkedIn connections here online, but I just give everyone major props for taking that time to hop on the webinar tonight. And yes, Fontel, I mentioned I do post job search links along with salary transparency as well as the person that posts about it. I try to do that weekly. It's not, I wish I could do more, but at the very least, I do send those out weekly. The Alberts List Facebook groups are another great way to get kind of that spark going in the morning if you're actively searching. And we're hoping to be kind of that, impetus for you in the current job hunt.
perfect. Thanks, Elisa. All right. And then in week four, we're going to talk about turbocharging your job search resources. And so we're going to go into building your job search roadmap and what you can use both locally and online. We're going to talk about reducing isolation in job searching with others and, the other groups that exist. And then we're going to talk about how to think about the current job market. Right. So we do webinars every month on the state of the economy, and we look into how that affects your job search. And so our instructor here is Lucy. She's a talent acquisition consultant. She's a career coach who's had stops at Bill.com, Bats Recruiting, Lumio, and LHH. And it's like going into the mind of a recruiter for about an hour and a half or so. And so she's someone that you're going to want to meet and learn more about, and somebody that you're going to want to be able to work with. In week 5, we're going to talk about insightful interviewing. And we're going to talk about being the interviewee that your interviewer is looking for. In this market, you know it's important to get an edge get an edge. And we're going to talk about you building the narrative that you want to share. And we're going to role play and avoid the mistakes that kill job offers. Our instructor for this week is Corey, and he's a technical recruiter, again, at the world's largest search engine. And if you're wondering what that is, I invite you to Google it. He's also a career coach, an Alberts List principal mock interviewer, and he's someone who's helped people get jobs at Fortune 500 companies, startups, and small businesses. Finally, we're going to hit week 6, where we're going to teach you how to cut through the noise. And cutting through the noise is a couple of different things. Number one, it's teaching you how to navigate your negotiation and be offered an extra $500 to $10,000. It's also helping you understand the state of the business and working it to your advantage. Can you use the current news cycle? Can you use their press releases and more to help you understand what exactly is going on at the company? And then finally, we're going to talk about creating a vision and moving beyond just being a worker, somebody who knows what's going on at the company and somebody who can lead. And our instructor here is Joe. He's founder of the Early Manager, and he's the coach for executives and individual contributors, and he's held managerial roles at hot startups and established corporations. And not only that, but we're also offering a few free bonuses for our our course as well. Our first free bonus is we offer weekly office hours and sessions to answer questions, run through scenarios, or just vent. And so this is a $300 value where you can just come in and it's one-on-one time with me, with Elisa, and the other instructors where you can learn and get all the support that you need to find that job search. And so what we do during this free bonus is we also schedule that time in the first week, so it's a convenient time for everyone to join, and we record these office hour sessions. Our second bonus that we offer is a mock interview with one of our instructors. So we have an instructor for software engineering, we have an instructor for regular interviewing, and so you just send us your resume. The one thing that we ask you to do is that we ask you to basically run these mock interviews in front of our community so that everyone can learn at the same time. And so all of this together is a total value of 3,800, but that's not what any of you will be paying today. One thing that I've learned in doing this program over the years is that, I'm not really in it for the money as much as I really want to be able to help other people. And I want you to think about something for a moment. There are some programs that will take 10% of your first year salary. And I want you to think about what it is that you have for your uh, for your job. And I want you to think about how much you get paid for it. And I want you to take 10% of that. And I want you to ask yourself, would you be willing to pay 10% commission to get that job? Because if the answer is yes, we have an even better offer for you. That's not the $3,800. And even if the answer is no, I want to let you know that you're going to save a substantial amount of money. And so, like I said, I could charge thousands, but I didn't start this to maximize profit. I wanted to create it for people like yourself who have been in the situations that I've been in because I know there's a lot of people out there charging thousands upon thousands of dollars, and it shouldn't be that way. And so our boot camp, it's actually regularly $397. But when you do it on the boot camp, when you do it today, it goes for just $297 before midnight. What does everybody think about that price? No response, no thoughts? Okay. We're offering $297 here for the first 30 participants, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to shut it down. And that's not the only thing either. What I'm also offering today is a guarantee that if you complete the course and use the skills that we teach you and are in our community for up to 12 months, if you feel any dissatisfaction, I want you to contact me and I will give you your money back. Is that fair? If you feel like that's fair, say yes or hit the heart sign. Awesome. Okay. I see some reactions. I love the hearts. And so if you find that that is fair, I want to invite you to enroll. And it's at this QR code that is attached here. And so I'm going to go ahead and keep that QR code here. And I want to offer you all the opportunity to ask any questions, if you have any concerns. Is there anything that we can help you with before we conclude this webinar? We've given you the three secrets, plus the Magnificent Seven, and a lot more. And so the weekly sessions will be Monday from in the evenings from 5 to 6:30, or 6 to 7:30, depending. And the Eventbrite link is attached in the chat here. And then we will do office hours separately as well. And if you need any additional time, where you might want to speak with me, I'm going to give you that as well.
I would just say that again, Albert's shared a ton of value. The boot camp's not a fit for Albert's list offers, and where I've seen folks get the most value is just leverage the community. So in the boot camp, you meet a lot of and instructors, and so the folks that are the most proactive and engaged with the community, they make the most in terms of screenings, interviews, and utilizing the resources. It is an accelerated boot camp, so if you join, it's a two-way street. We provide the resources, but you'd also have to put in the work, like the heavy lift to, um, customize your resume based on the workshops and do the mock interview. Be open to like raising your hand to do the mock interviews. With a couple of boot camps, there's a lot of folks that didn't want to do that. They just didn't feel like they were ready. So, that's something to consider. But the folks that have really leaned in, they've gotten a ton of value out of it. And we're happy to share, like, put you in touch with folks that,
Yep.
have had success in that area. But we understand it is a commitment up front. So it's not a fit for everyone, but for those that do join, I think they just have gotten a ton of value out of it. I'll get off my soapbox now. The other thing I will say is, as a fitness freak and a CrossFit lover, and a creature of habit, I go to the gym to just work out with folks, get insights, get better, improve myself, and hold myself accountable. So that's another thing that the boot camp really excels at, besides just having really amazing instructors and folks that are just here to support you all. You are held accountable to move yourself forward in this process. So that is helpful as well. Exactly. Be ready to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think the other thing is, so if you need payment assistance, please reach out. And we're also hosting this boot camp again, starting in the first or second week of September after Labor Day. So if you would like to do this around the Labor Day timeframe, we will be coming back for another version of this. So yes, let us know if you're interested. We're getting a few signups now, and we will look forward to seeing you next week as we start this. In the meantime, this webinar is recorded and this webinar is going to be available on our YouTube channel. So I want you all to um, follow up with us. But again, this $297 cost is only available until midnight tonight, and then it goes up to its regular price of $397. So, any other remaining questions? Let us know. We want you to have your career success, and we want you to be able to gain everything that you need to be successful as you look for that next job. So, Thank you all so much. We're going to chat with you soon. We'll be sending some emails out to follow up all week, and we look forward to having you in our boot camp. Thank you, everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.